Hello, good morning. It's Monica from Life is Art, and this is the Thursday 10 a.m. Technique Live at the Let's See New York online crop. And if you bear with me for just 1 minute, I am just making sure we're going live. Yes, we are. And we are actually going live in the group, not on the business page. Hooray! My hubby was helping me last night, very late last night, / early this morning, to get myself organized. And he set up some things because Facebook has been being a little bit difficult as usual. And so if you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound coming okay. And that would be very helpful. I am using a webcam today because the Facebooks were being unhappy yesterday. They weren't letting me do anything on mobile devices once again. So if you could just give me a yes, I can hear you. If you're watching live, that would be awesome. And today we are going to be making a gatefold explosion card, which is a really fun fold. And yes, we have made it before, but we're going to be using the Silver Bells collection. And the Silver Bells collection just went live yesterday on the website, and it is from the new November-December catalog. And yes, very exciting. All right, so I can see myself, and I'm just hoping that other people can see the live feed as well. Hopefully I've gone live in the correct place. Alrighty, so the Silver Bells collection in this catalog has beautiful coloration. It's very sort of elegant with toffee, charcoal, mink, linen, and white daisy as the main colors, but of course you can incorporate other colors. Good morning, Mary. Nice to see you're watching. If you could just give me a message in the comments to let me know that the sound is coming through okay, that would be awesome, because we're trying a new setup today and trying to get around all those Facebook quirks that we were dealing with yesterday. So today we're going to be using the paper pack and sticker sheet. We're going to use some coordinating cardstock. And of course we're going to use some of the bling that is part of this collection. We're also going to be using a stamp set. We're going to be using the card making stamp set for Silver Bells. And let's get started. So, Mary says the sound is fine. That is fabulous. I'm so glad. So for our gatefold explosion card, we're going to need to start with a base to create our gatefold. And I'm using a piece of one of the coordinating cardstocks, which is charcoal. And this has been cut to 8.5 by 5.5. And so this 8.5 by 5.5 piece, I'm going to do some scoring. And I'm going to be scoring on the dark side, which will end up being my outside of my card. I want the dark side of the charcoal to the outside. I'm going to be using my bone folder and my ruler to do my scoring. And it's not difficult scoring to fold a gatefold card. I'm just going to go here to 2 1/8 inch. And 1/8 is halfway in between 2 inches and 2 1/4. So I just put my bone folder right in the center and then push my ruler up to it. Make sure it's lining up nice and straight with those Versamat lines. And then to keep it simple, I'm just going to turn my card all the way around and line it back up. And then I can just score at 2 1/8 again on this side. So we're scoring 2 1/8 in on either end of this 8.5 inch length. And this is going to create a standard size card, the 4 1/4 by 5.5. So we've got our 2 score lines there on our cardstock. And so because I've made my dip on this side, there will be a bump on this side, we always fold with the bump side to the inside. So I'm going to fold these as valley folds. So we're going to push down into the valley, which brings this side in. Now you notice I'm not pushing it down. I'm keeping it up in the air like this. So I'm going to come over to this other side and I'm going to do the same thing. Push the score line down into the valley and bring it up. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that my two sides meet in the middle and that they are straight. I don't want them to overlap each other. I just want them to meet. That's the way it happens with a gatefold card. So I'm just making sure everything lines up, our two ends meet in the center, and I'm straight at the top and the bottom, and then I can go ahead and crease those down. Now, if you're using a scoreboard, you're more likely to be in the exact spot that you want when you score it. Because I'm using my Versamat and a ruler, and I'm human, I'm bound to make a mistake every so often. And so by doing that, where we line everything up in the center and make sure it meets just perfectly, then I eliminate any kind of weirdness that might happen. Hey Laura, good morning. Nice to see you're watching. So that is the base for our gatefold explosion card. And now we need to add a little bit of something inside for a nice spot for us to write a quick little message on the inside of our card. And for that, we're going to use a piece of white daisy. And this white daisy has been cut to, let me see, 4 inches by 5 1/4. Pardon me. We're going to add some adhesive on the back of this. Like that. And because we're creating an explosion card, there's going to be some movement and things, so I'm going to add an extra piece of adhesive just in the center too. All right. Just taking the backing off. And then we're going to center this on the inside center panel of our card. And it should leave a nice little border of the charcoal all the way around. And there we go. I'm going to just quickly take a drink. One moment. Never fails. You start talking and you get a little tickle in your throat. So instead of coughing and spluttering over it, it's better to take a drink. So there we've got our gatefold. We've got a nice spot to write inside. Now a lot of that's going to get covered by our explosion, but we do need some space, so it's nice to have it in there before we start. The next piece that we're going to work with is a piece of patterned paper. And I chose this pattern from the collection. I think it's really pretty. I like the size of the pattern on it. Now the back side of this is uber gorgeous. However, it's a very large pattern and only tiny bits of it will show from the explosion, and so I would prefer to use a smaller pattern that's just as gorgeous. And so what we need to do on this is a little bit of marking with a pencil first. So I'm going to turn it to the back side. I'm going to line it up on my Versamat, and this piece of pattern paper is 8 inches by 4 inches. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mark along this 8-inch side at 4 inches, top and bottom. So just make a little tick with your pencil, top and bottom at 4 inches. Okay, and once we've done that, we're going to go back to our front side, the side that we want to have showing in our card, and we're going to do a little bit of scoring. We're going to make a couple of vertical score lines. So let's bring back in our ruler and our bone folder, and we're going to score it at 2 inches. Just like that, top to bottom at 2 inches. And then we're going to move over and we're going to score it at 6 inches. So we're just scoring at 2 and 6 on the front side, the pattern that we want to have showing in our card. Okay, now we're going to flip it over to the back side where we made those marks with our pencil, And now we're going to create some diagonal lines. The first diagonal line we want to create is from this top left point down to that mark in the center at 4 inches. Hey Joanne, no worries. You can catch up for sure. So we're going to create this one, and I find the easiest thing is to take my bone folder and put it right on that 4-inch mark, then move my ruler up to it and pivot it till I have it lined up with the point up there. And then I can just take it and make that diagonal score line. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to come from the bottom left corner and go up to the top mark. So again, let's put our bone folder or scoring tool on that center mark. We're going to put the ruler up against it and then pivot till we get to that bottom corner. And then we're going to create our score line. Whoops, I wandered because I'm doing it at such a weird angle. I wandered all over the place. We'll have to make sure we're careful when we do our folding. Now we're going, if you could see my score lines, you could see that we've now made an X in this half of the piece of paper. So we've gone from the top down to the center and the bottom up to the center. Now we're going to do the exact same thing over here. We're going to go from the top down to the center. So let's line up our ruler like so and score. And then we're going to go the other angle. So from the bottom corner up to the center and score. And there we go. Alrighty. Now, once we go back to the side that we want to have showing, these two vertical score lines, we want to create mountain folds. And the way that we create mountain folds is that we push the score line up the mountain. So we're going to go from behind and we're going to push that score line up the mountain. That folds our 2 edges in like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if we don't crease it down, we just leave it like that. We're going to come to the other side and we're going to push the score line up the mountain from behind, like so. And then we'll flip it over. So just like we created our gatefold card, we will make sure that those two meet in the center and then crease them down nice and evenly. And that way we know that our explosion is going to work really well. Good morning, Deborah. You found me. Hooray! If you have trouble getting alerts for when I go live or when I post things, go up at the top of the group to the little notification bell and click all posts. And then you should get a notification when I go live or when I post games or activities, things like that. Good morning, Lynn. All right. So we have now created, we're going back to the front side, the side that we want to have showing, and we've created 2 mountain folds. You see how they poke up like mountains. Now we're going to crease on our diagonals, and this time we want to create valley folds on all the diagonal folds. So we're going to push the crease line down into the valley, and we're going to fold. That brings the paper up. And a good way to do this is actually to kind of do the same thing we did with the gatefold. Have that one just sitting there like that, and then come over here and push this diagonal down and lift the edges up and have it join it in the center. And then you'll know that your 2 sides are lining up nicely because they all meet in the middle. There we go, and we can crease those down. So we've done our two of our diagonal creases from the top down. Now we're going to do the bottom corner. So we're going to bring that bottom corner up along that diagonal score line and just kind of let it sit there for a second. Then we'll bring our other one up and line it up. And then we know that everything's nice and straight and we can crease that down. So we're just kind of repeating that same technique that we used on the original gatefold card. We're just now doing it on the diagonal. So it's good to practice those kinds of foldings. I took an origami class one time at Visual Arts Brampton, and it was very helpful for learning how to fold fun fold cards, I must say. Hey, Carol. Oh, you're late. That's okay. So now, because we've got all of these lovely folds happening here, you'll see that our mountain fold kind of wants to pop up, and our valley folds kind of want to pop down, and it will all just kind of collapse on itself. So if we grab these two score lines that we made that are mountain folds, grab it on either side with our fingertips, and then just kind of bring all of our fingers into the center like this. You'll see how it all folds in, and it folds right down to a little square just like that. So that's going to be our explosion for the inside. Now, we want to create a little bit of a focal point with a sentiment inside here. So let's scooch this out of the way, and we're going to bring in a piece of white daisy, and this has been cut to 2.5 inches square. And because our explosion base here is actually a diagonal, it's a diamond shape, we're going to make sure that we stamp our sentiment on the diagonal, and I find lining it up on the Versamat right along those two 6-inch center lines helps me keep everything nice and straight. And then I'm going to use this sentiment from the I've forgotten what I was saying, the Silver Bells Cardmaking Stamp set. I'm going to be using the Wishing You Joy stamp on the inside, and I'm going to stamp it with my intense black ink. So we're going to ink that up. I've already seasoned the stamp, and we're just going to stamp that somewhat in the center. It's hard for me to tell because I'm a little bit farther away than usual. There we go, Wishing You Joy. And then I want to add a little bit of contrast, because you could see when I put this diamond in here that it kind of fades into all that pattern. So I want a little bit of contrast, and for that I've chosen some Toffee cardstock, and that has been cut to 2 3/4 inch square. Now, if you're trying to write down measurements and everything, don't worry, I'm going to post it when I post the pictures of the project. So I'm just adding some adhesive to the back of my stamped sentiment. I need my lifter. I find using my piercing tool to lift the adhesive backing works better, and it doesn't rumple up the cardstock as much as it does when I bend it to try and do it with my fingernail. And then we're just going to center that in the center of the Toffee cardstock, adding some more adhesive on the back of this. And I would not suggest putting any foam tape in here, because this is going to be in the center of this explosion, and so there's lots of layers of paper that are happening, and so extra thickness is not required. It's just lovely the way it is. And then we're going to open this up and use those score lines to center the cardstock in the middle, and it will have just the tiniest little bit of clearance all the way around on that base diamond. So now our explosion will open, and we'll see that Wishing You Joy down there on the inside. Now, quick question for those of you who are watching. How are you finding the video quality? It looks a little too bright right now, and so just let me know if you're finding it's too glowy on the video. It's hard for me to tell. Yes, Laura, the piercing tool is absolutely the way to go when you're trying to remove backings off of things. It even helps with shimmer trim a little bit. Okay, so now we need to get our explosion box inside of our card. Yes, Mary, the video is bright. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to, before the next video, see if I can adjust that. I'm using a webcam for the first time, and because Facebook was not playing nicely yesterday. Bright and can't see the pattern on the paper. Yeah, That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to fold down our explosion, and we're going to turn it over and add some adhesive onto the back of this. So just on the square part that's the back of that diamond, we're going to add some adhesive. Then we're going to flip it over. And on each of these triangles, we also need to add some adhesive. Now, you could use liquid glue for this, but I'm impatient, and so I find this works best for me. So I'm just going to add, just around the edges of each triangle, some adhesive tape, double-sided tape. There we go. We're going to come over to this other one. Yeah, my husband, the whiz that he is, was helping me set all of this up last night. And he was in trying to adjust that brightness. And I wonder if I have to adjust it every time. Because it worked nicely last night. But now it looks really, really too much. Too much. So we will get that fixed. Okay, now before we stick this in our card, we need to open it up and make sure that our sentiment is the right way up. Ask me how I know. So always make sure your sentiment is the right way up. And then you're going to lay this down inside your card so that the point at the top, pardon me, lines up with the edge of the white daisy. Now, it's also kind of nice to look at either side, but that's not really where we're going to guess our sideways position. We're actually going to close the side here. And we want to make sure that this edge of the gatefold lines up with this edge of that left triangle. And if that works, then this side will line up over there. Okay? Oh, that tickle came back. So the first thing we need to do to adhere this to our card is we need to remove the backing from this left side triangle. And I'm starting with the left. You could start with the right, but I always do it the way that you read a book. We're going to read from left to right. And so we're going to adhere from left to right for this card. So let's lift that up. And the last piece. And then hopefully we haven't shifted. We're still at the top. But before you stick this down, just make sure that it looks like it's lining up. And it looks good, so we're going to stick it down. Now our explosion box is attached just on this side. Okay. Now, if we fold this all the way over and close it down so that we've just got that nice little diamond from the back, then we can remove the adhesive from the back of the diamond. And then the easiest way to attach this is to fold along this part of the gatefold, making sure that this flap stays open. And we're just going to fold the entire rest of the card over top of that square or diamond. Okay, now when we come back over, we've now got our left side and our back attached. The last thing to do is this triangle. So of course, left to right. We're going to now remove the backing on the right side. Like so. And we're going to close this over. There we go. Excellent. All right. I'm just wondering, in the meantime, if I move some of my lights a little bit farther away, I'm going to see if that helps some of the brightness. And until we can have a chance to adjust it. Might have helped. I do have a lot of lights. So there we go. We've now got the inside of our explosion card all adhered down. And now it's time to work on the front of our card. Did that help moving the lights? I hope so. There's probably going to be shadows now, because that's what the lights help to reduce, is all the shadows. So for the front of our card, I want to add on this lovely striped panel. And this is one of the pattern pieces from the Silver Bells collection. It has been cut to 3.5 by 4.5. Then on top of that, I'm going to add a piece of Toffee cardstock. And this has been cut to 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Just to be difficult. We've got those 8ths in there. And I'm going to adhere those together. Yes, I'm going to adhere those together. I was thinking foam tape, but I think I'm going to keep it flat. We've got a lot of bulk happening already, and I am going to use a little bit of foam tape on an embellishment here in a minute. So for now, let's just add this on flat. It'll also give a nice little bit of structure to this pattern paper. So there we go, just putting those two together. Doesn't that toffee stripe look gorgeous on there? Now we need to adhere this to the front of our card, but we can't just stick it on because then our gatefold will not open. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, line it up in the center, and then we're going to, I'm going to turn it so I can do this. We're just going to add adhesive on the left side. So we're going to put some adhesive down the left and go a little closer to where that center split is, but not over it and not too close to it. Just close enough. Then we can remove our adhesive backing, like so. And then we can line our card up. Got to make sure those gatefold bits are stuck down. And we're just going to center that on our card like that. It's a little bit harder when you're holding down those extra pieces. So now you can see we have a part that will overlap onto the right side from the left side. Yay, Joanne, you can see that there's a pattern there now. Awesome. Yeah, I can tell my hands look really red, so I know that it needs some adjusting. So I will do that once we're done the video. I don't think I can do it while I'm doing the video. All right, now we're going to bring in just a piece of white daisy. This has been cut to 3 inches by 4 inches, and we're going to stamp a sentiment on the front of this. I'm using another one from that Silver Bells Cardmaking Stamp set. And this says, Warmest Wishes. I'm going to ink it up with the black. And I want to stamp it down centered near the bottom of my panel. Warmest Wishes. And then I want to bring in a piece from the sticker sheet. Have you guys seen this sticker sheet? It has gold and silver foiling on the stickers. So the top half is silver, the bottom half is gold. And I really love this one here that has the bow and the holly. And so I want to add that onto my card. But I don't want to use it as a sticker. I want to pop it up. So let me grab some foam tape. And scissors. Oh, every time I reach for foam tape, I seem to get a new roll. I keep opening new rolls of foam tape. Yesterday, I think I opened 3. I'm not sure how that happens, but and now the adhesive is stuck to my hand. Alrighty, let's add some foam tape to the back of this. And we're going to do our little trick to create a sticker into a die cut. Let's add our foam tape, and this is just regular depth foam tape. And let's add a couple little bits down in here. Anybody else do this? Cut their foam tape into little pieces. Normally I don't stick little bits in all these little things, but because I'm using a sticker, I want to make sure that we've got some lift I am going to still do the trick with the anti-static pouch, but we want to make sure that as much of it as possible is not stuck. So as I said, we're going to bring in the anti-static pouch, and this is before we remove any backing from the foam tape. So we just pounce on it with this anti-static pouch, which contains some little starchy dust in there. And this is what we use when we're heat embossing to keep our embossing powder from sticking to our project in places we don't want it to stick. And what that does, now you can feel, see that? My hand is no longer sticking to the sticker. I've created a die cut basically. And gotta get the dust off my hands. There we go. Some people use baby powder for that process, and I don't like that, A, because I don't like the smell, and B, it's not so good to get that stuff in your lungs. And so I prefer just to use the anti-static pouch. They seem to last forever. That's only the second one I've ever had. So they do last a long, long, long time. Alrighty. So we've got some adhesive on the back of our white daisy. We're going to center this on our toffee. And that toffee was cut really close to the size of the white daisy. So it's just the tiniest little line of the cardstock showing around the edge like that. And I'm just waiting for waiting for the video to catch up. There we go. And then we have to take the backing off of our foam tape. I think this is so pretty. Lots of backings. We put lots of foam tape. I don't usually use this much foam tape, but I was being particular. This is going to be a special card. Good morning, Mom. Nice to see you're watching. Hello, hello. There we go. And then I'm going to take this beautiful bow and berries and hollies and just center it on here. Ah, but wait, there's more. I wanted to do a little bit of inking with my Toffee ink before I did that, just to create a little bit of a backdrop for that image. So I'm just going to ink up my Toffee with my blending brush, and I probably should have done this before I stuck it on there, but I'm just going to add a little bit of Toffee glow around here. And I might even check with the bow before I stick it on to make sure that I've got the amount I want. Yep, that looks good. I've got my little bit of drawer liner that my mom gave me to keep my ink pad from shifting around while I use the blending brush. And then we can go ahead and add our bow with our beautiful hollies and berries right on the front there. And then, of course, we do need a little bit of bling bling. And so I have here the Silver Bells dots, but for some reason I don't see in the package the color of dots that I want because they're over here. 1 second. They have escaped. There we go. We have the, in the Silver Bells dots, we have silver, we have white, and we have toffee. And I think, well, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm wondering if I want the silver. But no, I'm going for the toffee. So we've got our toffee here. Let's grab some bling. And we're going to tuck a big one there. And a medium one. I'm trying to decide if I want to go above or below. Let me take a look at it this way. Yeah, we're going to come up here with a medium one, and then a little one right there beside it. Why not? Just for a little bit of extra color and something something on the side. Look at that fun glow from that gold foiling on there. We started out with our gatefold created with that charcoal cardstock. We layered up the stripe, the diagonal toffee stripe, and some toffee cardstock. Then we've got our white daisy with a little bit of toffee ink blending in behind our bow. And then, of course, this beautiful sticker from the sticker sheet, stamped out our sentiment, added some silver bells dots, and then, of course, our explosion on the inside with that beautiful baubles and ornaments, pattern paper, and wishing you joy highlighted with some toffee cardstock. And I think that is a really fun surprise inside. There's still a nice little spot to write down here, and if you're the kind of person who needs a little more space to write a message, you can always add a panel on the back and allow for extra writing space back there too. Alrighty, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this gatefold explosion card come together featuring the Silver Bells collection, and we will be back on at let me see, 11:30, I believe, for Chat and Craft, and we will see you then. All right, toodaloo, bye.